There's something I had to be honest about with myself, and it didn't come from a breakdown. It actually came from just paying attention. Hey, it's me, Lo, and welcome back to Lo Unmuted. This is season 1, Unmuted, a return to self, where I share my journey of becoming. It's the small, quiet decisions, the lessons, and the freedom that comes from aligning your life with who you truly are. If you're ready to step away from what no longer serves you and live the life on your own terms, you're in the right place. So go ahead, have a seat, and join me while we discuss being unmuted. So, listeners, after I retired and after my body had basically said, we're done, I made a decision that I thought was the right one for me. I told myself, you need a slower life. You need quiet, you need peace. And for a while, that was true. I needed the stillness. I needed the mornings with no urgency. I needed space to recover physically, mentally, and emotionally. And I built that. I poured into my home, the dollhouse. I decorated. I planted a garden. I created something soft, something calm, and something safe. And I am so grateful for that season. I really am. But at some point, it stopped fitting. Not because anything was wrong and not because I wasn't grateful, but because something in me started to feel underused. Like I was trying to stretch myself in a version of life that required me to be smaller than I actually am. I started noticing it, in little ways at first. Trying to get out more, trying to meet people, trying to make it work, trying. But the truth was I wasn't connecting to my world. I was trying to fit into theirs. And that's a very different feeling for me because I know what my world feels like. I've lived it. I've lived in environments where there's movement, where people are building, working, thinking, creating, where conversations stretch you, where there's structure, energy, and intention. And I miss that. I miss the city. I miss being able to step outside and feel life happening. I miss walkability. I miss not having to get in my car for every little thing. I miss being around professionals, being in environments where people are on assignment, where they have somewhere to be and something to do. Now, I'm not talking in a stressful way, but I'm talking in a professional way. And let me be clear. This isn't me complaining about where I am. This life I created, it serves me. It gave me space to heal. It gave me room to breathe. But just because something serves you doesn't mean it's where you're meant to stay. And I had to stop trying to convince myself that it was. Because the more I tried to make it fit, the more I could feel myself slowly drifting away from who I actually am. And that was the moment of truth for me. I had to say it without guilt, without over explaining that this doesn't feel like home to me. And that doesn't make the environment wrong. It just means it's not mine. There's a version of me that thrives in a different energy, a version of me that feels alive in movement, in structure, in elevated environments, in intellectual spaces. And I'm no longer willing to abandon her just to make myself comfortable somewhere I don't fully belong. Sometimes growth does look like becoming someone new, but sometimes growth looks like recognizing I don't want to grow in that direction. I want to return to what already feels like me. So, this isn't about rejecting a life, it's about telling the truth about where I fit and where I don't. And if you've ever found yourself in a life that looks good, that even feels peaceful, but something in you is still quietly saying, sis, this ain't it. I want you to know you're not alone. And you're allowed to listen to that voice. You're allowed to want something different, something more aligned, something that reflects who you actually are, not just what you needed for a season. For me, this is me acknowledging I've outgrown this version of my life, and I'm no longer going to pretend that I haven't. This is where I start moving differently, not loudly, not abruptly, but honestly, unmuted. So, listeners, if this resonated with you, if you've been feeling that quiet nudge, that internal knowing that something in your life no longer fits, don't silence it. You don't have to act on it overnight, and you don't even have to have all the answers. But you do owe it to yourself to be honest, because that voice, that feeling, that's you calling yourself back. And if this is where you are right now, I want you to sit with that this week. No pressure, no performance, just awareness. And we'll continue this conversation in the next episode. So I'll see you next Wednesday, right back here. And until then, stay unmuted.